Hi, welcome to Evans for Faith. I am so glad you're joining me, and I hope you're enjoying this series. We'd love to hear from you as you listen to these, but we're diving into the next lesson on this. And this one here, we're going to be talking about a discovery that was made in 1962 that really is important because a lot of people don't know anything about this, but the artifacts of this discovery, which were found in Israel, are in the Israel Museum. They're on display. It is phenomenal because what we're talking about is the armor. God specifically in 1 Samuel chapter 17, 4 through 7, specifically talks about his armor. Believe it or not, there is archaeological evidence dealing with this type of armor. So let's dive into what they found, this farmer found in his field as he was plowing one day. A fifth point I want to make to you from that passage. It describes the armor and the weaponry of what Goliath had. And as I said, it's oversized for anybody who was of normal height, around 5'3", 5'4", for the average height of a man back at that time period. Again, let's take a look at this closely because this is really important. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, let's look at verses 5, 6, and 7. And as we do this, keep in mind the size, not just what's being described, but the size of what's being discussed here. It reads, "And he had a helmet of bronze on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze. And he had bronze armor on his legs, a javelin of bronze slung between his shoulders. The shaft of his spear was like the weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron." This is a formidable person. This, besides the height, the weaponry alone is enough to scare people. And as we take a look at some of this and read more about this, it's amazing what has been found in archaeology supporting this. You see, not all ancient warriors of this time period of when the Philistines were living wore metal helmets. Not all of them did. I mean, this is a Roman outfit behind me. Yeah, it's metal. Greeks had metal. But before that, a lot of people just wore leather hats, leather things. But we know that the Philistines wore bronze, not just because the Bible says this, but because it has been found in images on Egyptian temples. A paper published in 2012 by archaeologist Asaf Yassur Landau discusses the image of the Philistines found on the walls of the temple in Medinet Habu, which is in Thebes of Egypt, ancient Egypt. Remember in our first lesson, if you were with us, they wrote a lot of history on the walls, inscribed it on the walls of their temples. And here we know that there was a battle that took place, would have been during the period of the Judges, where Ramses III fought against the Philistines. And he defeated the Philistine army that was there in the area of Gaza, the Gaza Strip today. The Philistines are shown in the drawing that they have, and we have this in image here that you can see. The Philistines are shown wearing helmets, and the helmets have feather plumes in them. This supports the biblical description of what Goliath would be wearing in 1 Samuel chapter 17. Because you can see from the images of these Philistine soldiers and the headpieces that they're wearing. It's not leather, these were obviously metal. Next we read that Goliath supported a coat of mail, like a breastplate you would say, but it went all the way around, not just on one side, it went all the way around, and it weighed 500 shekels. Well, Michael, how much is a shekel? Well, that's a good question. A shekel weighs about 11 grams, and this coat then would have weighed around 55 kilograms. Now, Michael, Americans, we don't understand what that means. Okay, that would be about 140 pounds. That's pretty heavy. 140 pounds? That is really heavy. This would be far beyond what a normal man of a stature of only about 5'4", 5'3" would be able to wear and fight in and be able to move around in. That's remarkably heavy. Now, standing right here beside me is my Roman outfit, and this breastplate here goes all the way around. This one is made of steel, but this breastplate, which was the type Romans wore like in the first century AD, this type here, this one only weighs about 30 pounds. This was made to the specifications of what they were like in ancient times. As a matter of fact, I got this from a company that makes replica armor for movies and stuff. That's where I got this. And it's of the exact size and weight. It was custom built for me, in fact, to fit my body. And so, yes, if you've watched our series on the armor of God, you can see me wearing this. I do put it on at times, and I do presentations and stuff. Putting on the full armor of God, it's a really cool thing. What amazes me about this, even though it weighs like 30 pounds and it fits very tightly on my body, how easily it is to move around in. Could you imagine 140, I can't even begin to fathom, 140-pound breastplate, coat of mail that I'm trying to then swing a sword or throw a spear with or dodge arrows or whatever. It would be so difficult to move around. So that is a major difference. We have an image that we can show you here of what the Philistine armor would look like, a breastplate would look like, this coat of mail. And a coat of mail consisted of small little plates, bronze plates that would be fastened together. There's holes that are punched through them, and they're held together by leather straps, and they'd be sewn into like a sort of like a jacket, and wearing this thing. So the size of Goliath, wearing such a coat of mail would be very, very heavy and hard to move around. Even for a man who today, I have some friends that are over 7 feet tall, even for them to wear something like this would be way too heavy and too hindering. So, any evidence to support that there was armor like that? I mean, the Bible states that that's what the armor was like, but, well, Michael, that's what the Bible states. What about people who say, I don't believe in the Bible? Well, this is where it really gets cool. In 1962, a farmer plowing his field in Israel at a place called Kfar Monash. He was moving his plow and he hit something. Now, it was an area of the field he had never, and his ancestors had apparently never had farmed before, and he cleared it to expand the size of his crops and stuff. And as he took his plow through here, he dug up pieces of metal. Now, in Israel, when such a thing happens, they call in archaeologists and stuff to study these kind of things. And what they found was absolutely amazing. We have some pictures here taken from the Israel Museum, a large collection of weaponry. Now, this one picture we're showing you with different type of daggers and axe heads and spearheads. There were much, much more that was found in this site. That you see here. This picture I took a long time ago back in one of my early visits to Israel, and it intrigued me. I didn't even know about the paper at this time, but just seeing this image and these spearheads totally just blew me away. Like, man, these are huge in size and stuff. Well, this was eventually published. The archaeologists that were working on this, they published the paper on it in the Israel Exploration Journal, very respected periodical. Ruth Hestron and Miriam Tadmor, under the title, and you can look this up, I have a copy of it myself. They wrote the paper and it's entitled A Hoard of Tools and Weapons from Kfar Monash. And if you turn to page 284 in that journal, they discuss about finding 800 copper-based plates that were found together, suggesting they were most likely a large breastplate or coat of mail. They write, and I will quote their paper on this. On page 284, it reads, "We suggest that these copper plates are scales of armor sewn to a leather or cloth jacket." It's a coat of mail, is what they found. And what we're showing you right now on the image here are these exact pieces that were found. Now remember, I found these at the Jerusalem Museum on one of my first visits, and you can see these are all lined up. It would have been a coat of mail. There's extra ones over on the sides and stuff. This would have been a formidable piece of a coat of mail. This coat of mail would be much larger than any normal-sized man would be able to wear and utilize properly in a battle. It's just too big.
Support the show. Become a donor at evidenceforfaith.org/give.